speed is really big. Okay, let's go over these changes. So she loses 25 mana growth, which I mean it is like it is that does hurt, and then they buff her mana regen. So yes, because they buff mana regen growth, it is good for enchanter builds, but at the same time, you use mana regen in the early levels as like a mage. Like, yeah, I know her Q is more damage. You still use mana regen. Like, even if you're playing APC or mid lane Seraphine, you still use mana regen. Like, mana regen is not a bad thing. Okay? So, like, the mana changes don't matter too much. They honestly don't. Losing 5 AD is whatever, but if you think you're losing 5 AD for 5 movement speed, that is a worthy trade if you're playing a mage. 5 movement speed is so much better than 5 AD if you're playing a mage. Like, you do not give a fuck about AD. You really do not care about AD. Because 99% of the time, Seraphine is clearing her waves with Q. You don't even clear it with autos. So it doesn't matter. Like, doing that trade is fine. It's good for mid, it's good for APC, it's good for support. It's good for all roles. So that is a good change. Passive, okay, passive is a bit stronger early, but like weaker later, which is like whatever. I mean, notes hasn't been the same of doing like a shit ton of damage like ever. So like it doesn't matter that notes is worse. It doesn't. Like AP Seraphine only cares of notes if you're going Lich Bane, and even then it's like whatever. Notes don't really matter. Yeah, exactly. So Q, her amp is actually supposed to be 1.6 and not 1.4. So that's a nice buff, especially base damage going up. And the most important thing about the Q is the missile speed. Going from 1,200 to 1,300 is really, really broken. Like really, really, really good. Like, I don't think you guys understand that like this is a buff and not a small buff. Like a Q buff is a very, very big buff. Yes. W, her shield goes up, her AP ratio goes down, her cooldown is 2 seconds higher max rank. I mean, we knew this spell was gonna get nerfed. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever. It's fine that it got nerfed. I don't care. E is still too hard to land. Probably best to max W. E is not that hard to land. Also, E is definitely better to max if you're playing APC and you want to build her for damage. 100%, you should be maxing E second. Because damage goes up by a hefty amount with high, like the AP ratio and cooldown. So you want it 9 seconds. You want your E 9 seconds. And, the CC duration of E is really, really big. Like 1.25 is already pretty big for Seraphine's E, but the fact that it's 1.5 seconds is really, really big on Seraphine E. Minion damage doesn't matter. You don't clear waves with E. Yeah. Also, the R nerf, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be real. It does not matter because so the reason why I understand, at first I didn't really understand why they decided to nerf it, but I do kind of understand it now. It's because they don't want her R to, they don't want her full combo to do too much damage. So basically they want it so if she R E double Qs, it's like roughly like not too crazy amount of damage. So now she like R's into double E. So if she like R's E double Q, the damage is like pretty much like besides the Q buff and the E buff, like it's like pretty similar damage because E is going up by 20% ratio, so the R is going down by 20% ratio. But if she does like R double E and then Q, you're still getting like an additional 20% AP ratio because your E hits twice. So honestly, these changes are not bad. Like they're not bad at all. Like these are good. And her Q execute is higher. Double E is good. Like Seraphine is a good champ now. Well, I think she's already a good champ, but I think these changes are good. I'm not like mad at these changes at all. I think these changes are fine. People who are like saying that like it's a nerf are wrong because it's not a nerf. It's not a nerf. Do I think Enchanter build will still be better than full AP? No. I think both are viable. Even now, I'm kind of going more AP than Enchanter. But I think these are fine.